go.
All righty. Any public comment this evening? Seeing none, we'll go to administrative reports, consent agenda, A, minutes, B, financial, C, enrollment.
I will tell you that enrollment just keeps going up. As of today, we're at 111 kids,
Oh, wow.
with 3 saying they're still coming this week, so. Fantastic.
You noted on the
120.
back of the purple page, you'll see the breakout of the schools again, if you want to look at that. Lots of Bethel kids and lots of Bethel kid 10th graders.
Yeah, we have this influx.
Just like, what's going on? So,
We got like
Word.
3 or 4 that were kids at the high school.
It's really interesting.
At the semester break. I mean,
And Bethel is like sending them, they're recommending, suggesting. I'm not sure the reason why, but
I will. Last week when the rankings came out, and Bethel was like dead last in the state of Oregon.
oh, really, I need to see
Yeah.
this.
Willamette is one of the worst high schools in the state.
Wow. Well, reaching that cap is
So
a
maybe-
problem that we would really like to have.
That's a cool problem.
Yeah.
Maybe that's part of it.
and our attendance rate just keeps staying above last year, which is great. We're up over 10% from last year in February, so.
That's awesome.
All the financials look great. I have a question. So our surplus keeps building up and up. Phenomenal. I know with cities, of course, legislatively, you're limited on where you can invest those dollars. But we were able to do local funds, and then the state had its own investment pool. Investment pool. Are schools allowed to tier up to that next higher investment pool?
I would have to find out, but I do not think so. I've never heard of a school doing that, but we can ask to make sure. Yeah,
You got that kind of surplus.
it's nice looking at those numbers, knowing, 4 years ago, very likely because of COVID, when our numbers were so low, it was scary to now have a little breathing room.
And next month, we will have more on our print check listing. Had to buy a lot more Chromebooks with our increase in student numbers, and that's not something we really budgeted for this year. But hopefully, like between the old ones that are dying and all the new ones we purchased next year, we won't have a lot of Chromebook purchases. I had to send 3 out for warranty, but they were fixed and sent back. So all we had to do was pay for shipping, which was great. But yeah, we've just had kind of a weird influx of a certain kind of Chromebook that we purchased maybe 2 years ago that just started to die. Kids would call and say they're dead, and so I'd have to send them out with a new one. And then, of course, with our increased numbers, we just had to get more Chromebooks. So I've ordered, since January, I've ordered 25 Chromebooks, and I'm down to like 8 left. And we have 3 more kids that are on her desk to enroll. So. And the majority of those kids want Chromebooks. Most kids will take the Chromebook.
So are we still within that budget line item, or do we need to do a supplemental?
We'll have to shift some funds over to that budget. I mean, we have the funds to shift over into that budget, but that is something that we'll also look at when we start budgeting for next year as like, as we get Chromebooks back from students, we can kind of keep an eye on those Chromebooks that we know have been dying and know how many we may need to replace too, which will be nice. It's hard to just keeping track of SN numbers, which is just like a long list of letters and numbers on a Chromebook. It's hard to tell what's what as far as what's been sent out, but that'll be something that we'll have to look at too.
But again, a good problem.
Not the dying of Chromebooks,
Not that, yes.
but needing more Chromebooks in
the
general
needing
with
of them.
students. I've activated more Chromebook licenses, and that's the other thing. When we purchase Chromebooks, we have to purchase a license. And I had randomly just 10 licenses available on my platform, so I have been dealing with the Chromebook
That's
support
Shauna's
for
full-time job.
3
Currently,
weeks.
it is arguing with.
And they don't call you, and when they do call you, you can't understand them, and there's a lot of background noise. And they're like, we'll just email you, and then they email you with the same information. You're like, you're not answering my questions. So it's just been back and forth. It's a constant battle. So
off.
Yeah. I'd like to make a motion to approve the administrative reports, including minutes, financials, and enrollment.
Can you repeat that?
Absolutely, Jackie.
And I'll second.
Whoa. Having a motion to approve minutes, financials, and enrollment, and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? 0. Number 3, old business. Seeing none. Number 4, new
Well,
business.
there's a washer and dryer sitting over there.
Yeah.
That's coming up here in the, yeah,
And a
we're
new.
gonna talk about.
Oh, that's in there.
I bet that's gonna be in there.
It's new and old, I guess, but yes, it is in my report.
I just take that out the door. All right, A, policy deletions, WLT 201, WLT 203.
So going through our policy book and looking, we talked about this last month, some of these that I'm not sure where they came from a long time ago, like 20 some years ago. Policies that are not numbered according to any other policies, so they were just created internally. We don't really follow them, and so I don't know that they need to be there. So my recommendation is to get rid of them. One is extra duty contracts. If we were to do something, we would do a stipend, which has been done, but it's never, to my knowledge, been an extra duty contract in the last 10 years. And then the second one, we are not bound to follow the ORS for contract renewals, extensions, because we're a charter school. My recommendation is that we try to go by that, so teachers would know in March if they were going to be renewed or not. But if it's not in policy, then if we go to April or we're not,
Budge on it.
we're okay, because by law, we don't have to follow that deadline. I think it's good practice. I would still do it so that teachers know that. But it gives us a little leeway in there if we wanted to. And even if we wanted to do it, I'm not sure it's a policy. It's usually a contractual thing, and we don't have a union contract. And so that's partially why charter schools don't follow that necessarily. Just 2 cents on those two policies.
That'd be better just to remove it.
That's both things.
Because you get in trouble if you have a policy and you don't
And you
follow
don't
it.
follow it, for sure.
Absolutely.
So you don't foresee any reason why someone would want to request extra duty?
If they, it's funny because Tony's sitting right here and we're talking about it. If we had something come up, we would offer a stipend for it, which I suppose is, you could interchange those two words, extra duty stipend. And teachers have done that. I know that there were several stipends happening when I came on that are no longer happening because those duties have gone away, but they didn't call them extra duty
Aren't
contracts.
extra duty contracts typically like coaching or something like that?
Usually, yeah, which we just don't have. We don't have that.
Extracurricular.
And
So not that we
summer
couldn't-
school doesn't fall under that category.
And they get paid for summer school, but it's a stipend. And so it's not that we wouldn't have something where teachers could make extra if some sort of situation arose. But it wouldn't be an extra duty contract.
Is the stipend typically their hourly rate?
Typically.
Yeah.
Mhm. Based on like the number of hours you think it would take to do, or they get to do whatever the project may be.
Do you have a policy in place for when someone does request?
There is not a policy. And that, again, is that gray area of it's typically contractual based on a union contract that we don't have.
So we don't have any kind of contract with our teachers?
They sign a contract that they are employed for the following
Okay.
year. That is something we could look at. I would like to look at actually including some more things for their safeguards in those contracts, because they're pretty generic,
I'd work on it.
Minimum.
very minimal, yeah. So what would?
I said I would work on that with you. or if you
Okay,
wanted
I would
some.
like, yeah, because they aren't union, but I still would like to give them some of those protections in a contract, just because they deserve it.
Does the high school have something for their coaches?
Yeah,
Like that, like spelled out contract as
Absolutely.
far as
Extra duty.
their
yeah,
extra
and it's all
stuff?
bargained.
Right,
So it's-
yeah, they got the union, so I mean, it's,
But yeah, so every time you coach, you sign a contract saying you're getting X, Y, or Z
right.
for the amount it's for.
And this is what you
This is what
And I
you
was
get.
just thinking if, instead of reinventing the wheel on that, if that's something we want to do, that we can just rob the high school.
Now, they're pretty minimal, right? Like, if
Yeah, they're
you're,
gonna be,
when you're a coach, it's a one-page thing.
yeah, right.
Yeah, I had extra.
You probably have them for leadership stuff and things like that. It's a one-page contract, good for the duration of whatever season you're in.
Or we could ask our favorite AI, they would slip it up in just a few seconds.
There you go.
And we might
Honestly,
take a suggestion from AI.
and you just curtail it.
Well, then, yeah, Jackie, if you want, let's work on that with Shauna and just see as we renew for next year with teachers.
If you want
if
someone,
we
I
could-
mean, I don't
Yeah,
have to.
yeah, no, I would like that. Just because I would
That'd be
like to,
great.
I'd like to give them a little more than the very minimal that we have. It's a, I think, a comfort for somebody.
You're looking for a motion to delete these.
Leave those two.
Two policies.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and make a motion to delete the WLT 201 and WLT 203.
I'll second it.
A motion and a second to delete WLT 201 and 203. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Go to B, the Edmonton.
So I was not 100% sure if this needed board action or not, but I felt like it did and it should if it didn't. So I put it on there as board action. If you think I'm wrong, then you have to take action. Teachers have been working all year, and Tony is an expert if you have questions, looking at new curriculum. Not a fan of the curriculum we've been doing for a variety of reasons. It's been okay, but not real engaging. We have multiple different curriculums right now, which can be hard for kids to navigate between. So worked a lot with Edmentum. We are up and running with it for the rest of this year, so we actually get to try it before it's full swing next year. But it puts everything on one platform. It has two pieces, so the courseware, which does all of our curriculum, including electives, which right now electives are separate, and then an exact path, which is like a diagnostic testing that tests kids multiple times a year and then recommends interventions that they need to help them get up to grade level, which we do currently with our MAPS testing. But this is, it's very similar, but it's connected with their program. So teachers are finding it a lot more engaging, a lot more rigorous, so a little higher level there. But there's a lot more variety in the way material is presented to kids. So it's not the same, watch a video of a teacher talking to you like this with very little anything and then answer questions. This has a lot more to it, which we're hoping will help keep kids
like what?
engaged. You want to say, Tony, that there's,
So Darcy's referring to is not Buzz,
Edgenuity.
Edgenuity, which is a very dry, teacher no expression, gives you the information, and then you answer some questions. The Algebra 1 that I've been looking at, for example, it'll have a little more interactive of a video, meaning a little more expression, a little more whatever, and then more of a, and I can't remember what the word is, but the questions are more like drag things and match things as opposed to just a straight up multiple choice. They'll have more pictures and
It's more engaging.
it seems a little more engaging than Edgenuity. Most of my courses are in Buzz, and it's more like Buzz. So
It also is more customizable, so teachers can customize classes. They're pre-built, but teachers can take things out, add things in, reorder things, and so
That's good.
it's more, they can do more with it than they could with Edgenuity.
You can't do it with Ingenuity.
You can do it with Edgenuity, just not as much. This also allows them to build a class from the ground up, so they can use the shell of Edmentum and build an entire class with all of their own information, which Edgenuity does not allow even though they said they allowed it, they didn't, because we tried it a lot. So we're hopeful. The other huge thing, which is not why we chose it, because honestly, we had no idea until after we chose it, it's half the cost. So we get it for 2 years for the price we were paying for Edgenuity and Buzz for 1 year, which is just a huge bonus, but honestly had nothing to do with why we chose it. What that will do though is allow some extra funds in curriculum budget for teachers to supplement in other ways if they find something they think works.
It seems like regardless that AI is going to be more and more part of the curriculum. So where does this stack up with 2 years down the road with the whole AI being?
I don't know that and Tony and I have talked a lot about this. I don't know that there's an answer for that. I don't know that we can stay ahead of AI in education in general, not just us, but just.
Well, you hear it.
Education's going to have to change, and I don't know if it will be able to do it fast enough.
It's always behind the 8 ball and never.
Yeah.
Never changes quick enough.
Look at the AI platforms that came out this week.
Yeah.
I mean, there was 5 AI platforms.
And we do kids use AI to get through their classes? I'm sure they do. We monitor the websites they go to when we can. We do proctor final exams, so they have to come in and they have to take, or virtually, but live, so teachers can see them, so we know.
Yeah, and if I could, on the testing in this new system, they've made it such that most of the questions you cannot copy.
Nice.
So like you drag it across and it just does not select. So they can't take that question and go plug it into AI or even into Google now.
Right.
And just have Google spit out the answer.
Yeah.
I was very impressed with that.
That's cool. Because every platform has AI now.
Yeah.
I mean, they just came out with their updated AI.
And the diagnostic to replace maps?
Yes, and it's very, very, very similar. So it's just nice that it works directly with their courseware. And we've had some challenges with maps this year, and so the teachers are excited to try this one instead.
So just for my own, I'm curious. So when you do the diagnostic, will it, like if you're taking Algebra 1 and you have a kid who maybe had some algebra and they're pretty well versed, will it, you do like a placement test or a pre-test, and then it'll like skip the stuff that they already know and
We
kind of
will-
focus on?
We will still do the equivalent of MAPS testing at the beginning of the year.
Yep.
We do it 2 other times for growth measurement. And then the system, just like the MAP system, based on their score, builds a custom list of items they need to work on. And so they would be enrolled in a foundations class. And let's say they're a 9th grader.
Sure.
They'd be enrolled in a foundations class that has this custom built list of, content they need to work on. They will not be enrolled in a, Algebra 1. Because the whole idea is they're lacking, the background knowledge to be successful in Algebra 1.
So it might be a little cleaner if it's all one system.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's the
I
hope,
think so.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
It should be, and it should make Nicole's life a whole lot easier.
yes.
Right.
In sped,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
just
yeah,
really
for sure.
takes a lot of work off of her plate
Yeah, that
because
makes
it's
sense.
doing it for her.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think it's smart.
So board action here tonight, and then this is something that the district has to approve to per our contract. So I would take it to them next month if you guys approve.
So you need board action on curriculum?
I'm not 100% sure.
I'm not sure that you do, because
I would think it was just the budget purpose.
Okay, then you don't have to vote on. I know the district has to approve
So
it.
the one thing that I would say on that, even though there may not have to be a board action, would it be nice, since we're presenting next month and you're gonna present this with them?
So
to
this
give
will
the
just,
backing that says we sent it to the board and our board agrees with this curriculum.
This wouldn't be part of the performance report.
no, it's just per contract. They just have to know what our curriculum
what the
is
curriculum
and
is.
they have to approve it. It's worded, I can't remember the exact wording. I don't see
Which
there
you do
being an
just
issue.
separately with Gary.
It'll be in their March board meeting where they take action on it.
Where they vote for it.
But I think it's good to have it on our agenda that you are all informed that we're doing. I mean, I want you to know the curriculum that we're using.
Yeah, sounds
Yeah,
cool.
sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, you can just tell them that you discussed it before.
can do that.
We'll jump into C. The highly anticipated director evaluation.
That's why Tony came today.
That's right. See if he still has a boss. So I'm gonna pass it to our wonderful Stacy,
Oh, man.
who so diligently,
Mr. President, normally you would present.
I know I would,
And you are.
I get a delegate.
Executives on
Whatever. And has everybody had a chance to read it? Thank you, sir. So we'll read that. Now, like the year prior, we had our discussion last month. Very thorough, engaging conversation. And I think from the entire board, we could not be more happy or pleased with the way you're running the school. From your interaction with the students, from you growing the school, your outside the box thinking, your care for the kids and your staff, more importantly. I mean, because the school don't grow without a good leader.
My staff
And your
is
staff.
amazing.
But you don't have good staff without a good leader, because if you don't have a good leader, staff leaves. I mean, that's just proven.
You're not going anywhere. FYI.
So, yeah, Stacy wrote up a pretty much summary of everything we discussed and everything. And of course, you hit the highest marks. And if we could have gave you a 5 or a 6, you would have
Thank you.
got 5 and 6 in.
I appreciate the opportunity. I very much enjoy being here.
More importantly, when we went through this, we just saw no weaknesses.
No.
Sincerely, we were right on top with number 4s and accomplishments.
Yeah.
Bringing the school.
Anybody have any?
Well, I'll let you do this, but the board decided
Yep.
that some special recognition was needed.
Yeah.
Know that it is.
And special being someplace special.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Sarah.
it's, we do believe that you like to eat at some decent restaurants.
I do.
And I don't know if you've eaten here or not, but I would say it's a very good place. And so, to Kennedy Steakhouse,
Oh, I've not eaten there. Well,
I
thank
think
you.
you will be very pleasantly surprised.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you for all your hard work, your dedication. Yeah, no, you're just,
Thank you.
we're proud and honored to have you lead this charter school.
Thank you for allowing me to. I'm excited to continue.
Before I was here, it probably wasn't so cordial with the high school.
I don't
From my
know how much
understanding,
credit I
So-
can take, but we do have a great relationship with the district right now.
it's been awesome getting the GED program here.
That program
That
is
was,
amazing.
you know, after all those no's and no's and no's and no's and no's for all that time. And for you to be able to build that relationship with Gary and to get that door to open was huge. So thank you very, very much.
Stacy, you're the HR professional. Is this also an opportunity for Darcy to start making requests from the board? I mean, is it what more she needs from us or?
Sure, yeah, this is absolutely a great time for that.
Like,
I thought your voice was lost.
I'm not sure what, like, doesn't that come through the budget process?
I'm not thinking necessarily fiscal, but just whether it's outreach or see a couple more happy faces at board meeting, at school board meetings or.
I don't-
You know, just,
I
It's a good
can't
time to
really
bring it up.
think, I mean, I think you guys are great. If we have any needs, you're always willing to help. Jackie offered to work on some contract.
Did I say,
language.
I meant to say Stacy.
Stacy. I mean, Stacy. I won't take up a lot.
No, I'm kidding you. I
No,
like working
um,
on stuff like that.
I think if I had anything, I would ask. I feel like I could come to any one of you and ask. And then we'll talk about the washer and dryer and you'll be sorry you offered.
Like, I think what he's getting to, and I think about this every time I'm here and then I go away and I don't think about it anymore, but like, do you want more of us to show up at like particular events and things that you have, so kids,
It's kind of hard. We don't have a whole lot of events. I will say we had an open house that was great. I think Rick popped in for a second, but I don't know that it would be something that would be worth your time. You know what I mean? They're
Sure.
Talking.
Yeah.
So not really. If you want to come Monday night to the district board meeting, I'm going to show you what I'm presenting there. If not, that's okay too.
I'm actually jonesing for the aquarium field trip.
They're going tomorrow.
yeah.
They're
Hop
going
in the
tomorrow.
van, go with those 10 kids.
Yeah.
They're excited to go tomorrow. So. Yeah, I used the first few years. I was petrified to do the board meetings over there. Feeling much more at ease about it this year. So last year I had to present multiple times with contract renewal. And that was nerve wracking, but it went well every time. So
What time does that meeting start on Monday?
6:30.
6:30.
I think I put 6:30 on.
I think you're right. I think it is 6:30. I go every month online. I don't actually go in person. I listen every month online.
I'd like to try to attend this next meeting. I have this 6:30.
Yeah. I think I can do it.
Is it the district office or is it one of the schools?
It's cool.
It's in Elmira Elementary.
I was gonna
It's
say-
been at the elementary, yeah.
They used to
Check
rotate.
online.
Do they still, do they do it at one
No,
spot now?
because because that spot has the biggest, room, the
Okay.
library is the biggest
gotcha.
and the newest.
Pretty cool. So that's a good segue to go right into 5 director's report.
Director's report. We'll do this one first. So I wanted to share with you what I was presenting to the board next week, which is similar.
Can I stop you real quick? So this is a requirement in our contract that you deliver kind of an annual performance report. Is that correct?
That is, I believe that is different. So every year in June, I have to give an annual performance report to Gary, and that is required contractually. I don't know that this is contractual. It's just every month they have a school present. So
okay.
each school does a presentation.
Yeah.
I suppose I could not, but I
Sure.
like the
Oh, yeah,
opportunity
no, I think-
to be.
Okay. So it just, that helps me with kind of
Yeah,
the content.
So
of
yeah,
what-
no, very different. And the annual performance report at the end of the year has a lot more to it than this. Yeah. And I usually share that with you guys too. I try to do this somewhat similar to what the other schools do. It's a little hard. We don't have as many activities and things that some of the other schools do. Put the picture of our school, talked about our enrollment, which just has
Love
even
that
gone
picture,
up.
right? The front of the building just is
Yeah.
Looks great.
1,000% better.
Yes. it
Absolutely.
And this is obviously in black and white, but it is in full.
It is in color when I present it, yeah. I did, and I have a spreadsheet that is super confusing to anyone but me since I made it, but this says 136 as of today. We've had 147 kids enrolled at some point during this year. We have 111 currently enrolled. So we have a high turnover, and we know that. And it isn't any particular district or place where they come. It's just the kid, from what I can tell. It's not like Fernridge kids come here and then go right back, or it varies. And so that turnover can be hard for teachers. Andrea and I were talking about it today. You go to all the work to get the kids set up, get them going, and then they're gone. Today, and last week, regularly, we will drop kids due to a 10-day unattendance, and then they show up. We want to re-enroll.
5 days later.
Okay, so we go through all that again, and that would be something when we reach our cap of 120 kids, that won't be as easy for them. They will go on a waiting list, so they can't. That revolving door might not revolve quite so much if we get to the cap. But that just, I thought, was good information to kind of know. Part of
Go
our
back to like
struggle.
the school year, so enrollment is at 14 students. Was that at the start of the year, at the end of the semester? Just wonder if that.
It was at this exact time last year.
This month,
So
In comparison to last year at this time.
at this time, yeah.
it's a 12-month book.
Yeah.
And then when you say our significant increase, that's also just looking back 1 year.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, just 1 year. Then I put in there just sort of where our kids are coming from so that they could know. We are about, and that typical every year, half of our kids are local and half are from other places. And that's pretty consistent.
Do they still have to be past the 9th grade to come over here?
No.
Yeah.
So that, when we renewed our contract for this year, that was taken out.
That's good.
Yes, it was huge.
That was a huge win.
So on the demographics, which that big, I actually always thought that that was a higher percentage. the Kids being
Credit deficient
That's only 25%?
of the Fern Ridge kids that come to us. 30% about,
right.
so
Well,
55% of our,
Yeah.
half of our total kids this year currently have come to us deficient, which is significant. We're getting a lot of younger kids, like I said, right now, our 10th grade class is through the roof. Hopefully that will give us enough time with those kids to help get them back on track. Harder when they're seniors and they come to us so credit deficient, but
With
the
one-
reality.
With one credit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the reality of them graduating in 4 years isn't reality. 5 years is sometimes rough. And so when we look at graduation rates, just sometimes that's just not attainable for kids to graduate on time. It's, we'll still get them to graduate, it just may not be on time. And so our numbers are not great, but they are a heck of a lot better than they used to be. They're going up. We had a dip there in 22, 23. Don't really know why. We've talked a lot about it. I don't know if it was COVID and when those kids, I'm not sure. But last year was good. We're on track to have high numbers again this year. So graduation rates are going up. I think that 5-year completion rate will go up too with our GED kids.
So, I mean, the chair called this out. I mean, we're so excited about Gary allowing the GED program to come over. Is it worth kind of calling that out on this page? I mean,
I think so, yeah,
like how
and I
many
want to
kids-
talk
How many
about.
GED kids have actually,
Yeah.
just since
Yeah.
first of the year, right?
Yeah,
If that's done in a little asterisk there or something, but
yeah.
I think that's really important.
Yeah,
Mhm. Yeah.
Because otherwise those kids probably don't have it.
They're not doing it, yeah.
They're not
Yeah.
gonna get it.
Some of them aren't, like
You know,
some, we
There'll
had
be a
a,
few that-
we had a kid come during that open house who is age-wise a senior, never been in high school, been homeschooled his whole life. Well, graduation he would age out before he was able to get the credits he needed. He's on the GED track now and taking some of the pre-test, trying to place him. He'll take some classes where he is got some weaknesses, but it's great to be able to give a kid like that an option
Absolutely.
where he otherwise just wouldn't have one.
So we just, once again, we talked to Darcy about this a little bit earlier, but just the relationship that Darcy's built with the school district now is so phenomenal. Once again, is this a good sign to call out that this is the first year that the school district has allowed Wesleyan Tech to?
Well, last year was the first
Oh,
year,
that was
yeah.
the last.
Mhm.
Get going and then, so the second year.
Yeah.
It's just showing that
And
progression.
showing that growth, yeah. And kids that started it last year didn't finish it last year. So some of those were the ones that finished early on in the fall. It was making progress. And so, yeah.
Yeah, I think anything we do is call out that GED stuff.
Yes. Throw back some big kudos.
So I then just talked a little bit there about graduation rates and how it is increasing. Our goal in our school goals is 2% a year. We're very much surpassing that. I think
Do you
that's
think you can eliminate that first sentence though? Like, we all know they're not at the same, you have a different population. I mean, just starting over the past 5 years, we have increased graduation rates by 13%, which is more positive
I like that. Yeah.
instead of apologetic.
Yeah. I like that.
And the other thing is that our goals to increase, what was it? Many of our students survive credit deficiency. What are some of the things that you do to, like I remember one time I was sitting on that board and someone gave a general overview and said, we're doing things so that there's a transition, a more positive transition from 8th grade to 9th grade. And I was like, what? I want to know specifically what,
Okay.
so,
So,
Throw some tidbits in there.
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, we talk about the smaller student to teacher ratio, but I'll add in some specifics.
I mean, that might be a place where you add in the new curriculum too, because if it's more engaging, there's nothing worse than a teaching talking head, if that's what we have been using. I had that in graduate school. Course I was taking, and it was horrible.
One of the things that makes this school unique and more challenging for the entire school and the teachers is the number of kids that come in with IEPs. And do we want to call that out? I mean, it's really.
I don't know, I mean, but I think that's a challenge in any school.
Have we seen an increase?
We have, but I think schools across the board are seeing
I
those
know
higher
from
numbers.
Bridge, when I was
Yeah,
there, from the time I was there to when I left, it was a drastic, because I worked in the
Yeah.
sped department, it was a drastic.
I think that it's
So those
just,
numbers aren't worth maybe calling out.
I mean,
Because we're at 36%.
yeah,
Is that typical?
I would guess
Oh,
statewide.
the data is there, I'm sorry.
I would
Yeah.
guess statewide, it's not much lower than that.
I would agree,
I would
yeah.
be willing.
I did put it in there because
Right,
it
yeah.
feels really high with this only 100 kids, but I do think it's pretty consistent.
Yeah, I would bet.
That's
Yeah.
an important one to be pointing out, right?
Yeah, I would bet.
Then I talked a little bit about our CTE programs, not a lot. And one of the reasons I don't talk about it a lot is, and Tony can attest to this too, sometimes it's like pulling teeth to get kids in them. They don't want to do it. And so it's great to offer these programs, and they're fabulous programs, but if kids don't want to take them, we can't make them. And so Tony's done a good job this year of getting some kids interested in some of the IT stuff, building a class that a kid said they were interested in that we didn't have, he's built. And so we're making steps to increase the kids in those classes, but you can sell it all day long, and if they don't want to take it. So that is a work in progress. So I didn't talk a lot about it because I don't think it's something that we are super successful with at the moment, but I want people to know it's something we offer.
So with our kids, do they typically want their GED or their diploma and just go out and go to work?
Yeah.
They don't want further education or a branch to the community college?
No, very,
Yeah.
very few have any interest in moving on. I do see some of our new enrollment in the since second semester, we're getting kids who aren't credit deficient. And so I'm curious to see if some of those kids are on more of a college track, community college or trade, where they might be interested in this. That is new for us. So I'm curious to see where that takes us. Attendance, I did talk about, I mean, our attendance rates aren't great, but I talked about how we're seeing those improvements. They're getting better every month. Some months a little bit, but every month is positive. And I wasn't to put percentages on there, but for the life of me, I could not make it let me type in those bars. And so I finally gave up. And then just I've shared this with them before, but I bet they don't remember, but sort of our intervention plan for attendance and how we work and try to get kids in here who aren't coming or are just not working. They don't have to come in.
That's good. That's a good slide.
And then some pictures. And I plan to swap out one of these pictures with some aquarium pictures after tomorrow. Yeah, the Dairy Queen picture.
Let's get rid of the Dairy Queen.
Very good.
Yeah, when they went to Hollister.
I put Jackie on the spot. So she's sat over there as a school board member. So you've heard all the schools rotate through and talk about whatever, right? Their accomplishments and whatnot.
Including me. I used to talk about stuff.
So would they be interested? I mean, the staff we hear is remarkable. It's mean and lean, and we accomplish a lot. I mean, is it worth touching on that? I mean, that we have
Maybe highlighting.
four faculty and 2 administrators. And I don't know. I'm just throwing things out. Other things, and I'm looking for a bridge to then say, along with that success, we have to acknowledge that the school district has been an amazing partner helping us with our successes. So I was kind of looking for something there to kind of, yes, let's acknowledge our great staff, but at the same time, let's acknowledge how that staff and the school district is now working.
I like
together.
that. Yeah, I will add those.
And maybe, I don't know if this is appropriate or not, but maybe highlight a couple people on your staff. You know, we have this math teacher who is blah, 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 comes to us. What are you laughing at me for?
I'm not, I'm laughing at, sorry, I would never laugh at you.
Not in front of me.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
I mean, because I just remember when the charter school would come, it still was an enigma to me. I didn't really know the inner workings, and I'm always curious.
Sure.
Mhm.
Yeah,
You
Yeah.
want to be
Yeah.
hooked by
Yeah.
something.
yeah.
And oftentimes that's the personal story or something.
The personal stories are pretty good. Yeah.
Thank you for the feedback, because I have time to add that stuff tomorrow before I send it to them, so.
And I just somewhere in there, to just specifically call out superintendent.
Thanking them for their support.
The GED, because I always wanted you to have that, and I'm so glad you have it.
I
I want it to grow.
That just,
It's
It's
great.
such a need in this community.
Yes, yeah. And then on to the washer and dryer. Chris's never-ending project, and it seems to get
yeah,
Is that
worse
stackable?
the further I get into it, not better. So a couple weeks ago, well, months ago, set up a Donors Choose, which is an educator website for educators to put projects they have to see if somebody wants to fund them. I put it on there for the heck of it, saw what happened, sort of forgot I did it, and then got an email that Selco chose to fund the project, which was awesome. What Donors Choose projects do, though, is fund like equipment or supplies. It's not the labor end of it. So we did get the $1,500 donation from the Elaine Education Foundation, I think it's called. So we have that. We have a plumber coming this week. I talked to him today. He said it should be done this week. Somewhat nervous, that's not gonna fit through the door, but I measured and it should. And then the electrician is either coming tomorrow or early next week to come look at the wiring piece. So we are getting there. That's not gonna sit there because it's not very professional looking, so we're getting there. Getting things in this building are a challenge. I had to ask the landlord how to shut off the water to the building. He does not know.
That's not good.
You think? So I talked to the city, who was very helpful, but they don't know. So when the plumber comes tomorrow, I'm sort of gonna beg for mercy because I don't know. My husband, I've called in a lot of favors in the last month, we pulled up, the city said there's a utility box out front here in the sidewalk. So we came here one night, got a lot of strange looks in the dark, digging down in the sidewalk. There are shut-off valves for water in there. Some are labeled, some are not. But there's not enough for all of the buildings in the complex. Ours is not labeled, of course. The chamber is, Extapa is.
I guess it's
So-
one of the other ones.
But if there's not enough for every building, so
There's another box
There's-
within the,
I've walked the entire building. Max can't tell me. He said when we bought the building, we didn't get anything with it to know. So he said, it's your problem. Or what he told me is we could just shut off the water to the entire place, including Dairy Queen, the gas station, the car wash, and everything. I just would need to give them enough notice to let everybody know.
Where's
I'm
the-
not doing that.
Who has the original plans?
Good question.
The city should have those.
well, we're talking the early 70s.
I was gonna say,
The
they're
city
probably not
was
even around.
Knowledgeable enough to know that the utility boxes were out on the
Yeah,
sidewalk.
they're
So
probably not even
they
around
were
now.
very helpful as much as they could be.
Well, a good plumber can put you a shut off right there. Things may get a little wet real quick, however.
Drain in the floor.
It's doable to put
And
A shut
when
off
they
right
come
back there.
tomorrow, they may.
we can,
Well, they're gonna have to do something.
But there's not a drain in the floor right now. is there?
Yeah, there is.
Oh, there is?
So
Oh,
you
okay.
you can cut pipe
Yeah.
and put a manual shut off.
So it just,
If
I
need be.
make 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and it's just frustrating stuff. But we had to cut a little bit of a countertop off. That is done, and that all looks great. We're making progress.
And you have 100% of the funds that you need to.
Probably not quite, but real close. Sean and I have looked at the budget and we have a maintenance budget that will cover it if we can't get more. I'm still trying to get more. It would be for the labor piece. Everything else has been covered. The $1,500 I have will pay the plumbing piece of it from the quote we got. I don't have a quote from an electrician yet, so that will be the piece that we'll be trying to cover. But I'm
So-
still trying.
Is that dryer 110 or it's 220?
I tried, but I could not find one, so it's 220.
Sometimes the stackables.
Yeah, I
Should look
tried.
for like
What
2
electricians
weeks.
come?
I can't think of the name of it off
Josh.
the top of my head. It's Bushnell. Twin Rivers is the plumber. And we've had 2 different estimates.
Yeah.
Thinking outside the box of different ways to put it in there. It's a tiny little room, so.
Are
And
they gonna have
nothing,
any kind of counter to which to
Yeah.
throw clothes and
Mhm,
try to
yep.
fold them?
Yep.
Because I've seen kids try to fold clothes.
Well, that's a class.
That's a class.
so that's the update on that.
0.25
Call
credit.
And then, yeah, we are into semester 2, going strong. Field trip tomorrow, and the weather's gonna be good for it, which last week we weren't quite sure. And then we talked about the curriculum.
Awesome.
So you see the recycling thing is happening.
Yes, it is.
Versus per office.
I am getting very claustrophobic back over there because
So-
the donations are
I
coming
was gonna say,
strong.
if people wanna bring stuff in.
Yeah, we'll
they just-
take it.
They just bring it in
Just bring it in
to the
and
front office
yeah.
and
And it's cute because we have a lot of elderly people just pull right up and knock on the door. Does somebody help me? Sure. Carry it in. So, yeah, it's a
Do you have
great project.
somebody take regular trips down to Next Steps?
They're gonna come get it.
Oh,
They come
say
pick
they're
it.
in
And then I know the chambers advertise for us and the city has also made a flyer and they are sending it out in a mailer, I believe they said. So it's being well advertised.
Do you have to wipe it before
They do that.
they do that?
Mhm.
that. Next Step does everything.
Yeah. And people can donate directly to Next Step. Like I know our, I don't know what to call them, Cadence Communications,
Oh.
our IT people that we work with, they have a bunch and they just take it directly and
you
donate
can
it
ask them
to
to
us.
credit it to
Yeah.
you.
Yep.
I gotcha.
Yeah, that's great. So
You want a treadmill back there? Darcy? I got a treadmill I'm trying to get rid of.
some lady
Electric
brought me
component on it.
a box of batteries today. I'm not really sure those are electronics, but I wasn't gonna send her back away with them if she hoisted them to the door. All right.
That's awesome. I like that.
You got a handsaw for the summer.
Good. People love it and they're used to it. This is our
Yeah.
3rd year doing it, so we get calls all the time. When are you doing that?
Yeah,
And I just like that it gets people to know we're here.
sure.
Right?
Sure.
That's been the best benefit of it, I think. And I might not have any room to work by the time they come pick up next month. It's all right.
That's awesome.
Just climb over it.
Alrighty.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I was gonna say, you can jump right there.
Second.
Too late.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Jackie wins.
Aye.
So, board members, you want to get out the Venmo address, or you want cash, or you want-
Either or.
Oh, thank you, Cheryl.
we gave Darcy $50